we are going to kill you. You run before we reach or we are going to kill you, right? And then somebody told me, Saab, enemy wo samne baitha hai. So the moment that Jawan goes there and lifted the body, there was a blast. They have attached the mine with a dead body.
Does the army prepare you for such conflict situations?
We have written the last letter to our family that we may not come back, but we were very sure that we are going to fight till the end. We were lucky on top if we used to get one meal in 2 days. I'll just take one quote. Everyone is a soldier if he intend to be.
26 July 99 was a very important day in the history. We celebrated Kargil Vijay Divas. Fast forward 2024, we celebrate 25 years of Kargil. Kargil reminds us all with mixed emotions. While remembering 527 brave soldiers who lost their lives, it is also the proud moment of victory over the enemy. While Kargil War was also a turning point for Pentagon Press, whose extension DOAP is, I was really intrigued to understand more about the on-the-ground operation. I had the pleasure of interviewing Captain Akhilesh Saxena, who was heavily involved in various operations, the crucial ones being Battle of Tololing. This conversation is not just about Kargil War and the various operations on the ground, but also an episode of motivation. This episode really motivated me to find a purpose in serving the nation. Without further ado, let's hear the heroics from Captain Akhilesh Saxena. Before we start today's conversation, I've got one request. If you ever enjoyed the videos or found any value out of it, please subscribe to it. It really helps us as a channel to improve our content and bring better guests. Thank you again and enjoy the rest of the video. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much for being a part of this, sir. Appreciate you for this, sir.
Thanks a lot.
So I would like to understand from you, you have been really connected with Kargil. And for the last 25 years, I'm sure you relive a lot of moments from there.
Yes.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word Kargil?
First, I remember my brothers in arms, right? Who never came back from those peaks, right? And it's a very different feeling, right? It's a feeling of pain. It's a feeling of pride. There's a lot of pain because they were like, part of the family. They were like extended family. I lost some of them in my arms, right? And that time, we did not have the time to even stop for a minute because that attack need to continue because otherwise their sacrifice will go waste. So I could not even give them a minute when they were dying, right? So there's no greater pain than losing your close one in your arms, right? But there's no greater pride that I have served, I have fought with some of the brave soldiers. It may be Captain Vikram Batra, Major Acharya, Major Vivek Gupta, Kangaroos, Captain Anuj Nayar, so many of them. It's also a feeling of pride. So it's a very mixed feeling, pain and pride, if I call it correctly.
Right. There's a lot of mixed emotions because we won the Kargil War, but we still lost 526, 527 brave soldiers of ours.
Yes.
I've been getting a lot of perspective about the war, but since you fought on the ground,
right,
how did it go about? Got a first call to serve. What was your first impression where you thought, now, wow, I've got to serve for the army that I joined?
So I got married. It was like a movie scene, right? I got married. There was no chance of any war or anything. I was posted in Firozpur. We just reached there. In fact, we have not even unpacked our luggage. Immediately, I got my posting to Kargil. In fact, Jammu and Kashmir that time, not too specific to Kargil. And it was a SOS posting. SOS is Save Our Soul. It's like very urgent posting. So everyone was quite surprised, right? What is so urgent about it? Otherwise, you get 1.5 months just to, plan everything. But duty is duty. And that's the oath we took, right? When we were just passing out from the IMA, that my country comes first, always and every time. My comrades, my colleagues, my man whom I command comes next. Their honor, their welfare, their safety comes next. And at last comes my own family, safety, welfare, and, security. So I left my wife. She has gone to Dehradun, to their parents, and I moved towards Kashmir. Initially I reached at Tangmarg, one place which I was actually for CI ops. But moment we reached, within few days we were saying, let's move towards Kargil and Daras. Something is wrong. Nobody knew by that time what is wrong, right? And we were also sure that, there must be some requirement. So we all moved there and we were very sure that, we will achieve our target. But the ground situation on Kargil was very different that time. I think we reached there on 1st of June. And I was asking someone that, how far is the enemy? because we were on main NH1. It's a link between your Leh Ladakh and Srinagar, such a critical road, and suddenly a artillery round came and just fall 5 meters ahead of my jeep, and then there was shout from our thing, leave everything, just duck and go inside. They made a small wall, duck inside, and without realizing what's happening, I just dug, taken shelter. After 5 minutes we got up, and then somebody told me, "Saab, enemy wo samne baitha hai." And it was a feeling of disbelief that he has come so much of inside that this is our main road going and they are just sitting on top. They can see each one of us. And that's why they were able to stop every vehicle. They wanted to cut the supply line to Siachen and Leh Ladakh, isolate these areas, and then capture the Siachen, which they were planning to do it since 1984. So that was the kind of disbelief. And when we were given our objective was the most difficult one that time. That was Tololing Peak. And enemy used to call Tololing Peak as their fort. And there was a reason for this. Because last 300 meters was like a cliff. And in Kargil terrain, there are no trees and all where you can hide yourself, right? They can see you the moment you start your climb. They also knew Indians will only come from this side because government did not allow us to cut through the passes, go inside the Pakistan, cut their supply line. So they were sitting on top and their supply line was very well maintained till Pakistan, right? So only option for us was to climb on these peaks, which was 75 to 80 degree gradient. Temperature was going minus 18 to minus 28 degrees centigrade. Each one of us was carrying nearly 50 kg on our back, where it's difficult to even breathe, right? 50 kg. And in fact, we removed our food. We just carried our ammunition. So that was the first task given to us, the peak of Tololing. There was 5-6 attacks which were not successful. Before us, Naga launched the attack. There was some airstrike also we tried. Then finally, 18 Grenadiers was given this task. They lost Major Vikas Adhikari, who fought with a lot of bravery, reached up to this 300-meter shot, but could not move up from there. His body was lying there. After that, there 2 IC Major Lieutenant Colonel Vishnathan. He said, "I will take the revenge." He took the charge, but he could not move ahead. He also died. His CO just pulled his body somehow, and he dies in his lap, right? So, situation was, the entire army was totally demoralized. We didn't know how to make the headway. And enemy was, clearly saying, you cannot make us empty this post because we are in a very dominating situation.
Obviously.
So, Shivam, in mountain warfare, if somebody is on the top, he's like 100 times more powerful, right? You think yourself, somebody is sitting on cliff, even if you will throw the stone, there will be casualty, right? So that was the situation. This attack was given to us. Colonel Ravindranath, God bless his soul, he is no more. He was the one, he say, we will do it for the country, for the regiment, for the army, for 100 crores of Indian. We will get this peak, whatever may be the price, right? Even at the cost of our life. So that's the oath we took. And I was the artillery officer. When I reached there, Colonel Ravindranath told me that till now we have not used the artillery very effectively. There was very few artillery guns which, supported the attack. And he said, in this kind of situation, it's the artillery which can make a difference, right? Because you need to bombard the entire feature so much so that enemy cannot fire onto my Jawan when we are moving up. And I say, sir, whatever happen, I will be going in the attack with, infantry, and I will be at the front and will make sure that, nobody is able to take his head till the time we are making, climbing these. And we did that. I think, there was 120 large guns, including Bofors and 105, which we have done a massive bombardment. This battle was fought continuously for 1.5 days without food, without water. A lot of sacrifice was made. Major Vivek Gupta made his supreme sacrifice when he was very close to the bunker. But he still, after even being hit, he continuously kept firing. And, we were making attack from the other side. Finally, we got that most important victory, I'll call it, though Tiger Hill become very famous with the name and the shape, but Tololing was the turning point. That victory that gave us the confidence that if we can win Tololing, we can win everything. Everything is possible, where the chances of winning was not even 1%. We got that peak. So then everything was possible.
So Battle of Tololing was a turning point in the
It's a
Kargil
turning
War.
point in the entire.
Because when we won that battle, after your effort, and you said 2 days was
Yes.
it took you without food
Yeah.
and more ammunition, because you had to decide between food and ammunition.
Yes.
And of course, at that moment, you would give
Look
away
at food. We thought we will get the food anyhow, but somehow we didn't get it. So there's a story around that. So that I'll tell you afterwards. But yes.
So before we go ahead, I want to understand from you, what is the effect of an artillery officer during such an instance?
That's a very important question, because initially we thought these are some terrorists who are just sitting on the top, right? And the Pakistan also projected them like this, because they were all in kurta pajama. When we kind of reached there, none of them was in Pakistani uniform. They were all in kurta pajama. Some officers were in tracksuit. But obviously they cannot check everything. Then we could find some letter where their rank was written, right? One or two was even carrying their I card, though they were told that, leave their I card.
They didn't agree that we did.
They never agreed, right?
Yeah.
But we have got enough proof. They were the regular Pakistan 5 NLI officers who were in kurta pajama and this thing, just to show the world that these are mujahideen or terrorists from India, right? That's the thing. So they were regular Pakistan army, and they made the entire fortified bunkers, right, with a proper supply chain and coordinating with all peaks. So if there was attack on one peak, all the Jawans from the adjacent peak used to come there, right? So if their normal concentration was 50, it could have become 500 by the time we reach, right? So its superiority was always there. So we launched many attacks. We were not successful. When Colonel Ravindranath was given this attack, I think he was a visionary man. He told higher command that please don't push me to make the attack tomorrow. I need 7-8 days. I need 7-8 days. These 7-8 days, why I need? Because first I need to do the entire recce of the area, understand each feature where enemy bunker is there, what kind of ammunition, arms they are carrying, right? Till now we are just rushing one attack after another and we are losing.
Yeah.
So he took that stand. It was very difficult. Then he said, I need the support of full artillery. I don't want just 5-10 guns. And that's why we got 120 large guns was used for this particular. Shatru Nash was the name of the exercise which we kept it. We give a name to the fire plan. So we say Shatru Nash. So that was the one. And the third thing, he prepared his Jawans. He ensured that, the enough arms, ammunition, material reaches the firm base from where the final attack is to be launched, when you have got your bayonet up and just charging. So he took many steps. He took his time. We have done the air recce. I was with him. We identify each bunker and what will be our strategy. We also use artillery. Artillery is an indirect weapon which goes like a parabola. But first time we used Bofors in a direct firing role, which was little bit new to even the company who made this. They have never thought that it can be used so effectively in direct firing.
How does one carry such heavy artillery up there?
105 are the little smaller gun. Your 155 Bofors gun is a very, very heavy gun. But they are the self-propelled also, and they have been carried by a truck.
Okay.
So they carried by a truck, they come up to a point, and after that they have got kind of self-propelled capability. So they go up to that place, they fire. And another thing is, whenever you do a artillery fire, there will be counter bombardment which will coming between next 15 to 20 days. Because when your round goes and land there, they start plotting the trajectory back. That from where this kind of trajectory coming. This entire exercise take around 15 to 18 minutes. So 15 to 18 minutes, your round will come back to the location from where your entire artillery, this is firing. And these guns are not very close to where the battle. These are around 30 to 40 kilometer behind. That's a distance.
That's the range
they carry. So they are far behind, and just to get the right accuracy, they can come up to whatever is possible. But more important, they have to fire and close and then move. So before starting the firing, our position is earmarked where enemy fire cannot reach, right? So if mountain is like this, you are firing from here, you have to come inside the mountain, right? So that enemy round is. So a lot of preparation has to go through this. Entire effort, it was full of bravery. It was also the planning, the strategy and tactics, right? Like bravery also, if I just give you, Rajputana rifle have got a tradition. When they used to fight with Mughals, they used to put the Kesariya Bana, right? What was the symbol of Kesariya Bana? It was that we are inferior in number. Many times Mughal army was even 20 times, right? So they were not knowing that we will win or not. But there was one resolve. Either we will win or we will not come back.
Yeah.
So it was you are going for,
All
commando mission. It's win or nothing. So the same resolve we taken that, since 6 attack has not been successful. It's about honor of the country, the prestige of the nation. 100 crores, your citizen, your countrymen are looking at you.
Yeah.
You can't let them down. So each one of us put the Kesariya Bana on our top. We have written the last letter to our family that we may not come back, but we were very sure that we are going to fight till the end. Either we may not win, right, because of the situation, but we will not come back defeated. And that was like a passion or the madness, whatever you call. And all these planning that gave us the most important victory in the entire Kargil War.
So I'm still stuck at Tololing. We'll talk more about Tololing. So before you were called from Jammu to Kargil Dras, was there any preparation beforehand? Like how were you prepared for such an instance? Does the army prepare you for such conflict situations?
So in ideal world, it should have been, but in Kargil, because you were taken by the surprise. So normal what happens if you go from Jammu to Srinagar to Leh, as you climb up, there is a acclimatization. So at each stage, you stay for, 7 days, 10 days, acclimatize, and then you keep going up, right? Just to ensure your body function. Mm-hmm. But here there was no time. Some of my Jawans lost their, small finger because there was no way. We were just having our normal DMS boots. Mm-hmm. We were not having our night binocular devices. Even food and water was so scared because they were fighting continuously on that road, and food, water, all supply used to come through that. So we were lucky on top if we used to get one meal in 2 days. So that's one message I want to give, right? We talk about constraint, that we cannot do something because this is the constraint in life. This is I do not have resource. I know others are not supporting me. How will I do something in corporate or everywhere? But it's about your mind. The mental strength. The day you decide I have to do it with your passion and the purpose, all constraints become nil, right?
Wow. Well said.
As you say, preparation was supposed to be done, but there was no time. So there was no preparation. We were right bang into the battle and back directly into the attack. Mm-hmm. So there was no time, and we proved this is required, should have been. But if it is not there, you can't stop us from achieving our aim.
To achieve Tololing, which is on 16,000 feet, and you were just about 300-400 feet under the peak, the main peak. I'm sure you could, converse with a lot of Pakistani army Jawans or terrorists, as we call them now. There was a lot of back and forth. What kind of conversations were you having?
So the most interesting conversation which I remember, and my close friend Vikram also had a conversation, both of us were talking about it. So what conversation I had, they came to our frequency also sometime, because both are using ANPRC, which is like, from English army. So both Indian, Pakistan are used. And when we were 300, they could shout and we could shout, so we could hear each other, right? Because sound also travel. So what happened? There was one particular officer or Jawan from that side. He was using and shouting because he wanted to show that he's a Mujahideen, right? So he say, I'm a Mujahideen and I fought in Afghanistan and I defeated Russians, right? So you are nothing in front of me. So your many attacks has been failed, right? So he was telling me your officer's body is lying there. So please don't come up. So he was like, shout, not please, but he's saying don't come here. Otherwise, obviously, none of you will go back, right? And this was his way to instigate Jawan, right? So one of my Jawan, and when he was hearing, and he was Rajputana, right? Rajputana mein josh tha. Usne kaha, main isko abhi marunga. And he tried to just came out of the thing and he showed his thing, ki I am the king, and then he hide. And he kept a sniper just next to him because he knew if he talk about it, somebody may just come out.
Yeah.
And the moment this happened, somebody came and that sniper hit him. So that bullet gone through his hand, right? So this was the thing. So I pulled him, but I shouted and told them, guy, that whatever happened, we are going to kill you. You run before we reach, or we are going to kill you, right? I can say there are two types of army. Even if you are in most difficult situation, you don't leave your value system. That's an Indian army. When we caught them, when they died, we got their bodies. We told Pakistani army that, somebody is fighting for his country and now he's dead, so he's not an enemy, right? So we respect him as a soldier. You take his body and you do the burial, whatever you want, but they don't want to claim. They say, we have got no relation to him, you do whatever. So you will be surprised. Indian army kind of given him the full army respect, because whatever happened, he was fighting for his country. He was a Sainik, right? On the other side, if I tell you what they have done, I told you the body of Major Vikas Adhikari and few Jawans was lying on that top, right? When we reached on the Tololing top and we wanted to, give them the right respect. So I told my Jawan that, you lift this body, put it on a stretcher and give it to the 18 Grenadier, which was having their farm base in some distance. So the moment that Jawan goes there and lifted the body, there was a blast. They have attached the mine with a dead body, because they knew that we will lift up our officer. That the way. So sometimes they can, leave all the ethics and the value system of great army, and they can do more. Not only this, they were asking us, you go and take the bodies of your officer. We will not fire, right? We believed them, because I think, great, like we also offered. So we sent 2 Jawan just to pull the body. This was before we captured Tololing. But I was suspicious. I never believed them. Other officers also, me, Major Acharya, we never believed them. So what we thought, we given a lot of smoke bomb to these 2 guys. And we say, in case we will also be kind of, firing on them, but you find there is anything wrong, you just throw the smoke bomb. So in smoke, they will not be able to take the fire. And exactly same thing happened. The moment they were just pulling the body, they came in range and they started firing. We immediately fired back because we were prepared. And these guys also put the smoke bomb. They just wanted to kind of, defeat us. Anyhow, do that. So that's how our army can stoop down to what level. And there's another army, which is Indian army. Despite in big situation, we have never given up on our value systems and the ethics which we carry.
This fills me with so much pride that we, even though we're trying to fight a war, we are ethical in terms of a body which is dead now, and we make sure to cremate them and bring them back to the base. And well done, sir. I'm so proud of you and your team and all your group who has done so much for our nation, sir. What next? What Tololing was captured? What was the next step?
So we got the Tololing. After that, there was a Hump. Hump was like series of 10 Hump, one after another. So by that time, we 2 Rajput rifle. After that, 13 Jack came. Vikram came with 13 Jack. He was part of 13 Jack. We spent 2 days together. Had a very interesting conversation about life and death, right? What's written in our destiny, promises we made to each other to, this thing. But yeah, unfortunately, some of them, I in fact promised him I will come to his marriage and dance. But I think destiny has something else, this thing. Anyway, we captured 0.5140. I came down, 13 Jack also came down. And then after around 10 days on 27 June, we were given another very, very difficult attack, which was Three Pimple complex, right? And this was the one very important peak to capture the entire that area, including Tololing, right? This was the one which was stopping. Unfortunately, by that time we reached that stage, it was a full moon night, right? So full moon night attack is very difficult because enemy can see you, right? The condition I told you. Unfortunately, also they could find our position from where we were launching attack. So they used the air burst. Air burst is an artillery technique where your shell burst around 50 meter above head and thousands of small splinter goes all around, like thousands of bullets are flying and many of them coming from top, right? So even if you are hiding, it can hit you. So in fact, our 6-7 guys were badly injured. And many of them, they were not in the position to go for the attack. And enemy thought that now since they could find our position and they could injure many of us, the attack will not go as planned. But we decided whatever happens, right, we will still go for the attack. So this was my third attack, second attack for 2 Rajputana rifle. We have gone ahead, but this turned out to be the deadliest attack in terms of officers' casualty.
Is it?
Yeah, so we lost Major Acharya in this attack, Captain Vijayan Thapar, Captain Kangaroos. I got badly injured with artillery fire from enemy. We were very close to the enemy bunker when I also got hit. And even my RMO got hit, right? After some time, not immediately. When I got hit, the first feeling which came to me that, something has been moved away from the body, but it was so cold, I could not see what happened. When the moment I touched my other palm, I realized there's nothing there, right? It was a moment when it was a shock, because bullets are flying all around, artillery shells are coming, but you always believe they will not hit you, right? That's the confidence, and you keep moving. My buddy, there is a buddy system. Two of us always walk in together. So he was also my radio operator. He started little agitated and say, Saab, you also got hit, and then you have to stop here. I say, we can't stop here because I am firing entire artillery unit onto the peak, right? So if artillery bombardment stop, they will just come out and kill everyone who are climbing up. Like by that time, my commando units from infantry was climbing up. So despite being hit, I just lifted my hand, put a field dressing which we carry as a part of our this thing. That's the only thing we have, and tied it up above my head, right? Why? Because to lose
Blood circulation.
minimum blood. That the only could do, because most of the officers and Jawan died because of the loss of the blood.
Yeah.
You got hit, there is no medical for the next 10 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. You drain your energy and you die. But that time I could not have stopped, right? Because there are few things which are more important than your life. We continued that way, continuously keep pounding them with artillery fire, and our Jawans keep moving up this thing. But after some time, I think because I lost so much of blood, I just fell unconscious, right? That time when I was closing my eyes, the feeling was that I think this is the last time I'm seeing something, right? But they put a lot of water and all, and I think I came to the consciousness again, but was not even able to take one step. And my Jawan, JCO, they say that you have to go back to get medical, some assistance. But medical assistance was around 5 hours away from there, right? We were on the peak. I thought I will not give up, right? That's a winner attitude, that whatever happened, I will live for my country to fight another day. And I could not have taken the 8-9 guys who could support me in that time. We say, I'll just take radio operator to be in connectivity. And that was the longest walk of my life.
You walked throughout?
Yes, walk. There was no other way. So only instruction was then, if I fall down, just put some water, just put some ice, just try to get me up, and I will take another step. I don't know how many steps I'll be able to take and which step will be last, but I will do that. And I think, I don't know which, there was a lot of energy despite blood oozing out, your energy drained out. I don't know what, it was a wishes from 100 crores of Indians, it was Bharat Mata, it was family, what that gave me energy, right? Positive energy. And I could take another step, and after 5 hours, I reached the base.
Took you 5 hours to reach the base?
Yes, reached the base. And then I don't remember next 3 days what happened. I have undergone multiple operations. And then, I could only get my consciousness regained after 2-3 days in hospital. So, and I was lucky I'm still sitting with you. Otherwise, I never thought I will live up to see this day again. And then I was in base hospital for a very long time. More than a year I was in continuous.
So were you following the news of the war while you were in the hospital, sir?
Yes.
Because of course you're so invested, and you want to know every second, every moment, because in your ideal world, you are still fighting.
Yes.
But you are not able to because of your injury. And of course, there's a lot of anxiety about what is happening there. How were you coping with that?
So that was a difficult, because as I was in hospital and my wife used to tell me that, around midnight, I suddenly woke up, because I always feel I'm in the battlefield, right? You go to sleep, but your mind is there, as you rightly say, right? Your body is keeping you there, but your mind and your soul is there. So I always feel that I am making an attack, right? And suddenly you get up and you find you are on the hospital bed, right? So these kind of, I think that continued for a very long time, when I suddenly used to see that, somebody, my close friend got hit. Like, I've seen Major Vivek Gupta dying in front, many others dying in front of me. So, that continuously it was coming out. So it's a very difficult time to even cope mentally and emotionally. I had sleepless night at least for the next few months, because that mentally it's taken so much of toll on you. You have seen your friends dying in your hand, right? The moment I used to sleep, I was always in the battlefield. Very, very difficult.
Wow,
to do
so
that.
I'm lost of words, and I'm unable to think of questions. This is never the case with me, that I always have a next question to ask, and I've got goosebumps listening to you. But I'll probably shift the focus from you which is the main focus, to Ma'am, your wife, who's also written a book on this instance on how she was coping with life when you were fighting the war and about your. Do you want to share a little about the book that Ma'am has written, which is called Nation First?
Yeah. So, as I told you, I was just married few weeks before. So it was a very difficult for a girl who is coming from a total civil background to understand that she just got married and husband is now going to fight. We never knew, and whatever was there in the newspaper, right? Every day she was reading, she was in Dehradun, that, somebody is dying. And Dehradun have got a lot of officers and Jawan. So bodies were coming. And as a part of AWA, she was going for all these cremation, right? She was there. And she could feel the pain of the lady, right? When the Vivek Gupta was also from Dehradun, when his body reached there, entire Dehradun was there, right? And Rashi Gupta, who was also AMC officer, saluted. And she could always feel that I may be standing in front of that. So continuous that fear. But whenever we could talk through the satellite phone and all, because rest, everything was there. Some of these media person was scaring. So sometimes they allowed us to talk to her family for a minute or two. She always told me that, I knew when I'm talking to an army officer, right? I know your first love is always your country, right? I come second. So you just do your duty and I will always be waiting for you, right? So it was very difficult. And I always say in army, ladies are the pillars of support for officer. If we are able to fight with such a bravery, put our everything on stake, because we know there is someone at the back who's taking care of everything, right? So these are these are lady with heart, iron heart. They have got, a lot of willpower to support us. So she has written a book, Nation First. This is one of the bestseller, and also the Hindi copy is coming because there was a lot of demand to put it in Hindi. Mm-hmm. It's about our story, right? How we have taken a lot of challenges in life, not only during war, when we have taken the most difficult challenge of our life, but even after, when I got injured, moved to corporate, how we built everything together. And it's all about never giving up, right? And the nation comes first. That's why the topic is nation first, right? We all think about ourselves, right? What is my salary? How much I do? What I earn? What I did? Like, our freedom is not free. We always think, we take it for granted, right? Mm-hmm. It's like oxygen. Okay, it is given to us. But we need to realize that this freedom is not free. Somebody is paying the price for it day in, day out. During Kargil War, during independence, and today also, there are Jawans sitting in minus 50 degree in Galwan, Kargil, Siachen. So somebody is paying so that we can sleep peacefully. We are assured that, tomorrow morning when we will get up, someone like Hamas, what they did to Israel, or Taliban, they will not come inside our country and do whatever, they are doing in another country. We believed in our army, but there is a cost which they are doing. So we just wanted to say, every one of us need to put our nation, our society first, then only we can be a great nation. Everyone has to make that sacrifice.
Really beautifully said. So you embodied the fact of nation first, and in an ideal society that we live in, we should always see how we can serve the nation by anything you do. Even me trying to be a podcaster, exactly. my father trying to be a publisher, media person, everyone can serve the nation by doing their work.
I'll just take one quote. Everyone is a soldier if you intend to be. It's about your intention and about your passion, right? Mm-hmm. The work which you are doing, it may be in field of economic or commercial or, publishing or writing. I was talking to you, the work which you are doing, it's helping our nation so much, right? About army, armed forces, bring it together. Does not matter you are in uniform or not, but it's your intention, your passion, and keeping your nation first, our view, always and every time. That oath, which every army officer take, that the safety, welfare, and the honor of my nation will come first, always and every time. I think each one of us as a citizen of India can take the same oath.
Right. So I want to understand from you, you've been following a lot of the army procedures since the last 25 years, even though you're not fully a part of the army, but you still feel that you are a part.
Yes.
Have you noticed any changes in how the army works now and when you were a part of?
So I feel army is one institution where, people come from all parts of the country, but because of the training, the ethos, the culture, it has been developed into a very, very lean and fighting machine with a lot of passion, right? So I still see that's continue, right? You see now so many attacks happening in Jammu, Kathua and all these things. Still Jawans and officers who are giving their life. So I think till the time we have got our army, right, we can be totally secured and can sleep peacefully. So I don't see much change in terms of the motivation, morale which comes. Still, things has changed. Our arms, ammunition has changed. Our machinery has changed. With the time, it is getting more modernized. We are less dependent on the individual bravery, but slowly it's becoming the power of the equipment, like what used to be like US Army that time. But yes, still in any country, the most important thing is the man behind the machine. You can still get the best machine, but till the time you get the best men to operate it,
Right.
you are not going to win the war. And I can say proudly, Indian Army was the best army 25 years back, and today also is the best army.
Wow. So, sir, you transitioned from being an army officer to working in a corporate environment. How was that transition? Was it easy to feel that no, I'm no longer going to be serving nation and I won't be able to wear the uniform? How was that transition for you?
Transition was difficult. If you read this book, some of these dilemma which we talked about, right? So I was passionate and crazy about uniform, serving my nation, serving my motherland. And I left Delhi College of Engineering the moment I got through NDA, right? Not even took a day. My mother was after me, why you are leaving such a prestigious engineering college, where everyone try to be. But I say, no, I will never be happy if I, don't join the army. So I left that. I achieved everything what army officers take the oath, or, I fought the war for my country, which is the biggest honor. Not only fought the war, we won that war, which was like an impossible war. Took so much of, on this thing, become badly injured. And I say these are like, my medals, which are still with me. But still, then I was in a situation where I cannot go to active duty again because of, my badly injured. I was in hospital, undergone multiple operations for a year. Like, 1 year after marriage, we were totally in hospital, undergoing one treatment after another. So it was not an easy transition. But like I say, everyone can be a soldier and that intention. So I say, even if I move out, I will continue serving my nation, right? So, and second, I say, whatever I will do, I will not get some position because I fought for my country. I was offered many positions in ONGC, bank, ministry, many government organization. There was a scheme for war heroes. But I say no. If I can win a war, the same quality I can win in any battlefield. And from hospital bed, I started preparing for my MBA. Right? It was a very, very difficult 8 months, right? It's not easy for a Fauji to, go back to books again, right? After 7-8 years. But I say, no, I will earn it, right? So that was become another battlefield. My wife supported me. She was in MBIT. And after 8 months of very hard work, I think day in, day out, I got through. I'm Bangalore, I'm Lucknow, FMS Delhi, and few top colleges. Decided to moved out on medical ground and did my MBA from FMS Delhi, which is one of the top prestigious college, top MBA college, and passed out with a gold medal.
Wow.
And from there, obviously from campus, I joined Wipro to Airtel, and now I am vice president and heading the global services for Tata Communication. So I think it can be any field, but that was only my professional journey. I still motivate, inspire a lot of students, lot of organization. I given a word to my army chief. He was asking me, you are a war hero and you are going to go out, right? And I say, sir, I'll keep doing my duty, right? And so if I'm not in uniform, but I can inspire thousands and lakhs of students to come into the right direction. Many of them will join army and serve the nation. Even if they not join, they will always be a soldier to the nation, right? They will serve in some capacity. So I do my duty. I do a lot of inspiring talk, motivation talks, leadership talk, and just ensuring that I'm still serving my nation day in and day out. In fact, in Rajpath, few years back, government has, recognized me. My photo was there on the main tableau, and I was recognized for the service to nation, not only during the war, but also once I came out.
Wow.
So that's how
Awesome.
the life goes on.
What are the learnings you took from the Kargil War, the battlefield, to the corporate affairs that the board meetings that you got into?
Correct. So one thing, as I was telling you about the constraint, if you remember, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In Kargil War, there was nothing as per the plan. No acclimatization, no equipment, no time to even assess the situation of the enemy, but still you have to make the attack, right? So in corporate or, in our life, we take constraint very seriously that, I cannot be successful because I do not have this particular resource. I cannot be successful because I do not have the time. I cannot be successful because these five guys are not supporting me, or my, colleagues in corporate or my company are not supporting, right? We start making excuses to ourselves and we take a victim mindset. And why I call it victim? Because we start imposing these thoughts on us that we will not be successful because of 1, 2, 3, 4 constraints. The moment we put these constraints in our mind start behaving the same way, because everything, whatever you do in life, is done twice, right? Before even the first step is taken on the ground, it is done in your mind, right? So once you take this victims like thought, your mind start putting that story and your body start behaving like this, like a loser, like a victim. And rather than focus on achieving success, you start thinking what will be the excuse that you are not getting fail. And finally you fail and you say, see, I was anyway going to fail. But here, if you take a fundamental different thoughts, everything starts with a thought. You become winners. And I call it winner's attitude. You have that winner attitude. Yes, I've got a constraint. These are in my radar. I will work with my constraint, but I will still keep focus on my objective and I will achieve it. The moment you start thinking, you keep finding ways to do that, right? Kargil, we were having everything against us, but we fought through constraint because there was a purpose to get that victory, whatever happens. So that's a winner attitude. You start bringing in, and I think, you will see the change in your life. That's a very important learning which you have to take it. Maybe a student, we are a corporate person doing our own business. Not let this constraint be imposed on your mind and start impacting your thought process. Always be a winner, and I call it winner's attitude.
Wow, sir. I must add to this, sir. I have been wanting to make some difficult decision in my own business.
Yes.
And your few 30 seconds of words that you just said really inspired me to make that changes. Thank you so much for that as well, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
I hope you will take that decision, because moment you take, you will be thankful to yourself that you took that risk. It's better to take that risk rather than taking no decision and this thing.
No, while you connected really beautifully about the constraint and making the right decision with the amount of the resources you already have,
Correct.
That's the way of life in not just a war-like situation, but life also.
Correct.
Wow, sir. What a beautiful conversation this has been, sir. But before we go, I must ask you two personal questions that I ask all my guests.
Yes.
Since this podcast is called Diary of a Publisher, I must ask something about a book. If there was one book that you wish you would have read earlier in life, the book that you already read, but that would have taught you a lot better earlier, what book would that be, sir?
I think it was 7 Habits. If you just see, there were many habits, right? But we don't look. And I think, I have read it afterwards, but I thought if I would read it, because it's about 3 personal victories and the public victories, right? Which really talks about how you can change yourself. And the most important thing, that everything starts with yourself first, right? If you start looking outside, you will not get. First, you have to get your internal victory. As I talk to you, it's about mental, right?
Yeah.
So getting the personal victories is more important. Then when you are ready with your personal victory, then you can go out and get your thing. So I think 7 Habits is one of my favorite books.
Beautiful, sir. Second personal question that I must ask you is, what is one piece of advice you would give to a young army officer, young you?
Actually, if I look back, I've got no regret, and I will do exactly the same I did, right? There were many difficult decisions just after my marriage, going to the front. But I was always passionate and driven by that, I have to do my duty. I will not think what will be the consequences of it. So I think, if I really go back and ask somebody to do, I will tell him to do exactly the same thing, but maybe keep little hosh with a josh, right? That time I was just losing in josh. I was not keeping. Many times I expose myself to enemy, which I should not do, because a leader also need to have little maturity, because the entire Jawans are looking at him, right? So he need to be sure. And enemy is very particular to hit the leader, because if we are able to hit the leader, the entire
Yeah,
attack will be
yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
And I'll just give you an example. During one of the attack, when we think it's very difficult, how to motivate Jawan. I told them that I will be leading, I'll be going first, and if the first bullet come, it will hit me. It given a lot of josh to my Jawan. But if I see on the other side, if I actually get hit, it
Then-
could have impacted the thing also. It worked out that time because it bring a lot of josh and do that. So there's always a risk and reward. But I think I will not change much in my life. I think I'm good the way I am.
So basically, you're trying to say that with the Josh, you must have hosh as well,
Yes.
because you need to make rational decisions
rational.
and not irrational decisions like the person you were
But I
narrating
think
about.
this thinking comes with the age, right? After 25
Yeah.
years, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But maybe at that age, when I was 24 years age, I just acted the way I'm supposed to act, right?
Wow, Sam. Big salute to you and your whole team.
Thanks a lot.
Before we end this conversation, I would like you to say a few words about the 25 years of Kargil, the Kargil War Divas that we are celebrating in the coming week.
So I just have one message, right? We are celebrating 25 years of Kargil victory. Kargil was the most difficult war which India faced. There were 3 other wars also, but that time we and our enemy were nearly on the same platform. This was one war where enemy, by designing this operation, whether they have taken all the advantage. So the chances of victory was not even 1%. But still we could win this war and get the right honor and prestige of our country. As a citizen, what can you do? Right? You can do 2 things. One, each one of you can be a soldier if you intend to be, right? Whatever you are doing. So never forget your duty. And the second thing, the respect for somebody who has given his life or who has given his limb, right? There are disabled soldiers. I also work with a war disabled DOAP, which is as the organization of disabled war veteran, right? These are the guys who do not have leg, they do not have hand, multiple injury, but they still have got pride in nation. But what we can do as a citizen, can we have a little respect them? Whenever we meet them, at least we can say, thank you for your service, right? We just remember our God and our soldiers when we come in difficulty. We just put our flag during Kargil Vijay Divas, 15 August or 26 January. But can we really be grateful? We don't want anything from you, these citizens. Army just want you to be the citizen worth fighting for, right? Just show them the respect which deserve, and that's the greatest thing which I will request from you on this 25th Kargil Vijay Divas. Jai Hind.
Wow. Beautiful words, sir. Thank you so much for your time and your support. I would urge the audience to please put your hands on the book and get your inspiration in a form of a book after this podcast, of course. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. Until then, keep reimagining yourself and know that the power of change lies within you.